Thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate it. I'm Red Wing Mayor Dowse, and on behalf of the City of Red Wing, the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, the Federal Highway Administration, and Zenith Tech, I'd like to welcome visitors here to our great city, and to our residents of Red Wing, I say welcome and thank you for supporting this historic effort. Welcome also to Congressman Jason Lewis, State Senator Mike Goggin, and State Representative Barb Haley were invited, but I think their jobs kept them away today. Members of the Red Wing City Council are in attendance, members of the Goodhue County Board, and our Red Wing Area Chamber of Commerce. We're here to mark the start of the new Red Wing Bridge construction. The current bridge is behind us. The Eisenhower Bridge has served our region since 1960. The new bridge, which will take shape over the next 2 years, is expected to last 100 years. For our community, road construction has almost become a way of life. We're ready for this project, but we will also be happy when it is done. Nothing against all you construction folks, but we prefer to be known by our Red Wing symbol rather than orange cones. Our community is blessed by great natural beauty with the bluffs, the Mississippi River, strong employers in our city, both large and small, good neighbors in the Prairie Island Indian community, and a robust community spirit that is reflected in this crowd today. When President Dwight Eisenhower visited Red Wing for the dedication of what was then the Hiawatha Bridge in 1960, he talked a great deal about the United Nations. It was a speech about partnership and cooperation. And that's the story here today, nearly 57 years later. The Red Wing Bridge project is a story about partnership between agencies, communities, and states. It's for the common good. The bridge that will be constructed will improve and enhance our safety, our commerce, and our efforts to welcome visitors to this community and the region. Construction causes disruption, but the bridge will remain open during this process. Life as we know it will go on, with some changes, but mostly we will go about our daily activities and routines, commutes and trips with few changes. And from this vantage point, we will be treated to a show of hard work and determination as construction workers place a new state-of-the-art bridge across the mighty Mississippi during the next 2 years. It's an historic time. So thank you for joining us today. I will introduce each of our guest speakers this morning, and they will tell you a bit about their perspectives on the bridge. Our first speaker represents the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Chief of Staff Eric Davis was appointed in 2013 by Commissioner Charlie Zelle and assists in executing the overall administrative responsibilities of the department and directs the offices of Communications, Public Engagement and Constituent Services, and Equity and Diversity. Eric.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the kind introduction. I'm delighted to be here on a beautiful Friday here in beautiful Red Wing. I was talking to the mayor before we started about how did the town appreciate the new Complete Streets project up there on Highway 61. I think, from my perspective, it looks fabulous, and this new bridge is just going to add to that. I'm here on behalf of my boss, MnDOT Commissioner Charlie Zelle. He regrets he couldn't be with you today, but he sends you his regards. He's in Maine, meeting with other state transportation commissioners on talking about the national priorities on transportation, so it's important that he's there. He sends his greetings and congratulations for what we know is going to be a tremendous project for this city and the surrounding region. The development of this project's been going on for a long time, and it appears that the result of this work is a very sound and good project that, as the mayor pointed out, will serve this area for nearly a century. I want to take just a moment to thank my colleagues at the Minnesota Department of Transportation, in particular Jeff Lamek, who's the MnDOT district engineer. I know he's keeping a low profile out there somewhere, but I shook his hand, so I know he's here. And his outstanding team of engineers and project managers, including public affairs folks. I see Chad Hansen over there. I know Terry Ward is here somewhere as well, and Mike Doherty, who I know played a behind-the-scenes role to help us. I see Mike over there. He's probably tweeting about it right now. There's been strong cooperation and collaboration on this Main Street Highway 61 project, and the end result is a roadway that we hope you find useful and friendly, not just to people who live here, but all the many visitors who enjoy coming to Red Wing. I want to also take a moment before I give up this podium to thank our partners in this project, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. MnDOT has worked with Wisconsin on a couple other big road projects, one of them that we anticipate opening up in Stillwater, Minnesota in late August, or early August rather. We appreciate greatly the spirit of teamwork that has helped us succeed in these projects, and we know that will shine in this project as well. And finally, thank you on behalf of Commissioner Zelli and the department to the many elected officials who provided significant funding for this project, including Congressman Jason Lewis and the congressional delegation in Washington, our state representatives and state senators who are probably catching up on some sleep this morning, and all our Red Wing city officials. All these entities have contributed to the funding of this project, made it possible. I know you'll hear also from representatives from our two U.S. senators following me. So last but not least, this is one of the last projects to receive funding from the state legislature under Chapter 152. It was a bonding authorizations that followed the historic collapse of the I-35W bridge, and since that time, we have used that funding created by the state legislature back in 2008 to do work on more than 100 bridges across the state, ensuring their safety and reliability for years to come. Congratulations, Red Wing, on what will be, I think, a fantastic bridge for this community. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you, Eric. Our second speaker leads the 20-county Northwest region for Wisconsin Department of Transportation. Jerry Menzel is the Northwest Region Director for WisDOT, a key partner in many of our transportation projects through this important river corridor along the Wisconsin-Minnesota border. Jerry.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to be here today to help kick off this next phase of this critical project that improves the important link between Wisconsin and Minnesota. A project of this magnitude doesn't happen every day, thankfully, and it doesn't come together overnight. There's been a long process, a lot of work that's gone into getting us to this point, and on behalf of Wisconsin, we'd certainly like to thank everybody that's involved in bringing this together and pulling this together. Local governments on both sides of the river, state, federal agencies, the public, property owners, business owners, elected officials, and of course our critical partners with Minnesota DOT. It's exciting to move on to the next phase of the process. Construction is finally getting started. It's one thing to go through all the steps it takes to get to this point, but it's another thing to actually get out here and build the project. And I just have a ton of respect for our construction industry and Zenith Tech, and congratulations to them on being the prime contractor on this exciting project. We look forward to working with them during construction. We ask for your patience during construction. It won't be without impacts, but I think if we keep the end in mind, and you have some experience with that, with recent construction here in the city, keep the end in mind, and we look forward to being here in a couple of years to cut a ribbon and celebrate again with you folks. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Our next speaker will be our State Senator, Mike Goggin.
Good morning, everyone.
We had a interesting last couple of weeks up at the Capitol, but I'm glad to say that, I'm proud to say that we worked hard. We worked in a bipartisan effort, and most importantly, we got our work done. And I'm going to keep my comments based on roads and bridges and infrastructure. And what we did is we did pass the bonding bill this morning about 4 o'clock this morning. What does that mean for the city of Red Wing? That means we're going to get more money for our Riverfront Renaissance project, more money to keep our TB Sheldon up to date and bring it up to standards. It also means that railroad safety crossing out at Sturgeon Lake Road, we're going to have a railroad overpass. That was funded as part of our road bonding bill. And finally, we passed $300 million in additional funding for roads and bridges for the state of Minnesota this year. It's money we haven't had for about 9 years now. It hasn't been additional funding. So I'm really pleased and happy to be here to tell you that. And as I reflect back on my years growing up here in town and riding my bicycle down here to the boat harbor to take the boat out on the river, or going across the river to visit my sister in Wisconsin, we're doing a lot of improvements with Highway 61 and infrastructure here in town. And this just adds another element to our infrastructure improvements, which is going to make it better for our economy here in the city of Red Wing. It's going to make it better for people to come here, visit here, work here, and enjoy our beautiful town and surroundings. And I look forward to all the improvements that we're going to have here, and I look forward to the improved safety with the bridge. And I'm going to miss the Eisenhower Bridge because I grew up on it, but times have changed. It's time to upgrade, time to improve things. And I look forward to seeing that project come to fruition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Congressman Jason Lewis was elected this past fall and serves Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District, which includes Red Wing. Congressman Lewis was a nationally syndicated radio host for over 20 years. In the House of Representatives, he serves on the House Committee on the Budget, the House Committee on Education and the Workforce, and the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. Congressman Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor Dowse. I appreciate it, and thanks to everybody here who worked so hard to get this project completed. You know, when you first get to Congress, you're new, as Mike is experiencing up in St. Paul, but me in Washington, and you look around the room once in a while, and you see all these people that have been there for so many years, and you think, I'm not certain I belong here. And then after about 3 or 4 months, you look around the same room and you say, I'm not certain they belong here. It is a learning curve, but one of the things that I wanted to do in Washington was get on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, and I'm glad to say I'm on that committee because these projects are so important. The Red Wing Bridge project is significant for our region, both states, Minnesota and the United States. As one of the 5 thoroughfares that connects Minnesota and Wisconsin south of the Twin Cities, the Red Wing Bridge is the only route over the Mississippi for 30 miles in either direction. It plays a significant role, not only in Red Wing, but the entire region. And that's why it's so important. That is why the city of Red Wing, both our states, the federal government have come together in a bipartisan way to get this project started. It's a great example of how government can work together on both sides of the aisle. So I want to thank both departments of transportation for prioritizing this project. I want to thank everybody here that's worked so hard to get it done, because these are the types of infrastructure projects that have an economic return. And we're going to do a very, very big infrastructure bill in the 115th Congress. And we're going to focus on projects like these that actually improve productivity, improve transportation, roads and bridges that make your commute easier. Serving on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in Washington, D.C. is very exciting for me because of projects like these. We are busy reducing regulation, trying to come up with the bill that will come out later this session, reauthorizing the Coast Guard and FEMA, improving disaster efforts, and of course, working to reauthorize the FAA and more projects like these. This effort will allow us to expand the economy and grow above 1.9%, 2%, and get back to our historical average of 3 and 4%. And we can't do these projects, we can't balance the budget, we can't provide for the critical infrastructure needs and all the other things we need to provide for if we don't get more economic growth. And this project will lead to more economic growth. So I want to thank all of those, as I say, who were so instrumental in this project. I look forward to working with all of you on further improvements to infrastructure and getting the Minnesota and the economy of this country going again. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your efforts, and it's great to be back in Red Wing. Thank you.
State Representative Barb Haley.
Good morning. I don't need to belabor the point, but I'd like to just call out all the people that worked on this project, including a lot of community citizens. And as I've been working in St. Paul on lots of issues this session, one of the things that stands out is how strongly our community comes together on projects like this and how well we work with various departments. The Highway 61 project is a testament to that. I've gotten to know the folks at MnDOT and the folks in our county and city that worked on that, and I'm sure this project will be the same. So excited to see it kick off. I live south on 61, so I'll be watching the detours closely. Thank you.
Additionally, our 2 U.S. senators were unable to attend this event today, but send their congratulations. Senator Klobuchar's staff is here. We invite them to read a letter from the senator. Here is Kyle Olson from Senator Klobuchar's office.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everyone. Like you said, Senator Klobuchar just asked me to read this letter. So, dear friends, thank you for inviting me to participate in today's groundbreaking ceremony for the Highway 63 bridge at Red Wing. Congratulations to everyone who helped make this important connection across the Mississippi River a reality. I was proud to help bring over $28 million in federal money to support this project because I know how important a safe Highway 63 crossing is to the region. From the scenic river bluffs to the Port of Red Wing to iconic businesses like Red Wing Shoes and Red Wing Stoneware and Pottery, this area is a destination for many Minnesota travelers. This connection will help keep those travelers safe and area businesses competitive. In Minnesota, we know all too well the importance of investing in our transportation infrastructure. The collapse of the 35W bridge is a tragic reminder that we cannot afford to let our infrastructure deteriorate. This project is just one example of the progress we can make when federal, state, and local governments come together to meet our transportation infrastructure needs. That's why I was proud to pass the first long-term transportation bill in more than a decade, the FAST Act. Because of the FAST Act, Minnesota has received an increase of $36 million in 2016 and will continue to receive increases each year up to $107 million in 2020. But there is still more work to do. Earlier this year, I introduced the Bridge Act, which will help states and local governments leverage private investment to fund and maintain infrastructure. This funding could help fund critical projects like this one in the years to come. Once again, thank you for inviting me to this ceremony, and thank you for all the work that brought us to this exciting day. I look forward to our continued progress in the years to come, and I am honored to serve you in the United States Senate. Sincerely, Amy Klobuchar, United States Senator.
From Senator Franken's office, we have Bree Mackey.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to share a message with you from Senator Franken. Just wanted to let you know I'm Senator Franken's Southern Field Representative, serving the lower 28 counties in Minnesota and also cover broadband and telecommunications for him. I have the honor and privilege to be able to be with you today, but even more so, I grew up just a little bit down the road by Winona, and so excited to see this important connection and transportation move forward. So I share in the celebration locally as well. So here's a message from Senator Franken. I'm sorry I could not be with you for this groundbreaking today, but I want to thank everyone involved who got us to this milestone. Like many bridges in Minnesota and across the country, the Eisenhower Bridge has aged beyond its intended life and is in need of replacement. This project has had to thread a needle between two different states, a major shipping waterway, and a thriving downtown Red Wing, so I'm sure it didn't provide any complications at all. But sincerely, thank you to everyone who has gotten us this far, and I hope the construction process goes smoothly. Infrastructure investment is one of the pillars of prosperity, and I hope this project will help Red Wing and the surrounding region prosper in the future. Thank you.
Thank you again to all of our speakers. Let's give them a hand. Thank you very much. This is a groundbreaking, and since we can't get right on the site, we've got a spot right here for a ceremonial groundbreaking. I invite our speakers and several others to join me with a hard hat to shovel over there. After we're through, we'll welcome any to take a turn yourself with a hard hat and shovel for a photo. Thank you again for coming and helping us kick off this historic project. Thank you.
Sure. On behalf of the Minnesota Department of Transportation, we're real excited to get this Red Wing Bridge project moving. And a couple of the key components for the Red Wing community in the region is, number one, the Eisenhower Bridge will be open to traffic throughout the duration of construction. We are not closing the river crossing at all. So kind of our phasing is we'll build the new bridge, move traffic over there, and then start to remove the Eisenhower Bridge. So that's one key aspect, is the main river bridge crossing will be open at all times. Number two, during the peak hours during the week, in the morning and afternoon, those real peak commute hours, we are not going to have any traffic restrictions. So to keep traffic flowing into Red Wing in the morning and out of Red Wing in the afternoon during the work week, we have no traffic restrictions. It's basically from 6 a.m. to 6 to 8:30 a.m. and then 3 to 6 p.m. are those critical no traffic impact hours. So again, we're real excited to get started. We want to thank the community for really a long partnership we've had. We've been working together for over 7 years, and this project is a multi-year project, and we look forward to that continued partnership as we move forward to have another ceremony to open the new bridge, and then maybe even a third one when we're done with the removal of the Eisenhower Bridge.
I want to take this opportunity to talk about this bridge project is a cooperation, and we've got Wisconsin DOT, the City of Red Wing, MnDOT working together with our project partners, our consultants that worked on the design. But funding-wise, I also wanted to mention that local community stepped up to help us put some neat things on the bridge, some aesthetic lighting and those things that make the bridge pop. We got spires going on the bridge, lighted lettering, and the local foundations that stepped up to contribute funding to this project are the Red Wing Area Fund and the Jones Foundation. I just thought it's a good time at this groundbreaking ceremony to recognize that people are viewing this as a historic event to put a 100-year bridge in place, and we've got project partners that aren't government agencies that are contributing to this project, and just want to thank them for their support and make sure they're recognized.
Yeah, the new bridge over the river will be a 100-year bridge. So we will outlive anybody that's here today.